Hello, my name is Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net, and this is the webinar number 1 for the jazzguitarlessons.net website, so welcome. It's really the first time I use this platform, so forgive me if there's any type of problem going on, or if you can't hear me, or if you can't see me. We'll have a question and answer session starting in, say, about half an hour, so stick around. Even if you know all this material, we can still go and you ask questions later and get started. So thanks for tuning in. I see people starting to come in the broadcast a little later now. So as I was saying, this is the first webinar for the jazzguitarlessons.net website, where we will be basically looking at 3 chords and 3 scales to get people started in jazz guitar. So that's it. In general, I find that if you buy a book or if you get new teachers, you may find things that are too complicated. You buy a book, you have like 5 scales, 10 scales, and then chords and this and that to learn. But here we'll try to go step by step and really build it up so you can already play on tunes, on 2-5-1s, improvise, and stuff like that. So let's get started right away. So welcome. I wonder what's happening. I'm losing viewers. I had 15 viewers a minute ago, and now it's down to 5. Oh, back to 9 viewers. Crazy. Okay, so anyways, welcome to the first webinar. The jazzguitarlessons.net website is 5 years old now. It has, hundreds and hundreds of pages and lessons and tunes and videos and podcasts and stuff like that. There's a newsletter. I offer Skype lessons also and different types of teaching. It's a one-man operation. This is me, jazzguitarlessons.net. In fact, I wish I had a second person now to control the Hangout and see what we can do about the question and answers and stuff like that. Anyways, we'll see as we go along. So since I'm repeating myself, since this is the first time, we may have technical difficulties, so apologies. I'm sorry, live and learn, and how we'll proceed. I'll expose the material in the first 30 minutes, so approximately in the next half hour we'll play on stuff, and then in the next 30 minutes we'll look at questions you might have or how we can expand this material further. Suggestion: have your guitar in hand with me, because we'll be playing on different chords together right away. I mean, you can play along and you can ask your questions later. And once again, this is a first, so the material is very basic. There might be people around, so thanks for people that are just coming in. Thanks for tuning in. It's the first webinar for the jazzguitarlessons.net website. And so I started with very basic material and see how far we can go and still keep an interest. So stay tuned. I wish to do this type of webinar once a month at least, so we can get materials flowing and ideas and concepts and have nice question and answers question. Good. So materials part 1. I invite you to look at the PDF that is in the webinar description or the YouTube video description if you're watching this from YouTube. It's called just Jazz Guitar Webinar 1001.pdf, and the title is jazzguitarlessons.net webinar number 1, July 19, 2014. We will first look at basic bar chords. So bar chords are the ones that, when you play guitar at first, you learn your cowboy C, and you learn cowboy F, and your G, and stuff like that. But eventually, you will get to a point where you will learn this type of stuff. This is G. And then you feel all powerful because you can start moving your stuff around, right? So for today, we'll be dealing with 3 types of chords only, and we'll start with bar chords because they're familiar to basically everyone. Minor 7, dominant 7, or if you see a chart, dominant 7 is just a plain 7 chord, like G7 is dominant 7, and major 7. This should constitute about 95% of all the vocabulary of the jazz harmony on tunes that you'll be working on. So it's simple, right? Minor 7, dominant 7, major 7, and you're good. And if you look at the 2-5-1 cadence, for those of you who are not familiar with the 2-5-1, just take a look at the No Nonsense Guide to Jazz Harmony. That's on the jazzguitarlessons.net website also. You will see that it makes sense. Well, the 2-5-1 is a cadence, right? This is what we hear on hundreds of jazz standards. It's the most common progression in jazz. So today, it's not by chance, it's not by mistake that we just deal with minor 7, dominant 7, and major 7th. So we learned the 2-5-1 at first so we can play on virtually any jazz tune after. So how to play the chords? Now, let's just get started and play the first bunch of chords that we see on the very first page of the PDF. D minor 7, G7, C major 7, all three chords in the key of C major. So C major, or cowboy C. So the first way to play the first one is to bar the bar chord, like chunk. D minor 7 at fret 5, and then G7 at fret 3, which is probably nothing new to you. Then C major 7 right here. Now, let's play them together, one bar each, one bar of D minor 7, one bar of G7, and one bar of C major, and we'll talk after. Let's use a metronome. Not too fast. 63. Ready? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Just that. 2 bars of C major. Do it again. 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. That's it. So this is what you will find in basically any jazz guitar, not necessarily jazz guitar book, but any guitar chords book, right? 800 chords, get the book, and that's the type of stuff you will find. It's not the best sound for jazz, not the best solution, but it does the job because it sounds like it should, right? But in terms of trying to build a jazz vocabulary today, we'll move away from this type of material. So thank you for the people just joining in. I just saw a few more viewers talking. This is jazzguitarlessons.net webinar number 1, and we just started to work on the first part of the material. So still on the first page of the PDF, let's just look at the second bunch of chords, the D minor 7 barred at fret 10, and G7 barred at fret 10 also, and C major like this. Once again, this is the same type of bar solution that you'll find in any book, in any chords book. It's basic, does a job, but it's not super flexible. So let's jump right away to, did we get questions here? No. Okay, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, people. Just getting used to this sort of Google Hangout platform. Let's go to page 2 of the PDF file and start working on shell voicings, which I called Chords Part 2, Shell Voicings for Jazz. So in a few words, what we're trying to find is a more elegant, I like this word a lot, elegant. It's a more elegant solution than bar chords. The rationale is that we want to know what we're playing. So we don't want to go on and kind of just see, this is D minor 7, and here we go, bar, and we got it. We want control over harmony and not just physical shapes. We don't want to deal with reproducing the same things on the fretboard and not really knowing what we're doing, right? There's no piano player that would go like this and go by, oh, this is the shape, 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 shape. You want a better freedom and better control, right? So, so yeah, this is what shell voicings will do. And when we deal with chord melody later on, if you harmonize tunes, if you're stuck with your bar chords, you're not going to go anywhere. So you want to know which note is the highest note of your voicing and have control over it and not just basically strum, right? So let's look at the first shell voicing for D minor 7 on the second page. This is here, D, F, and C. And I highly encourage you to use your first 3 fingers and not use a pinky here. Because if you use your pinky in this voicing, you'll have a finger that's useless, this one. So like this, and then your pinky later on might be used like, or other ways to use the other fingers. So this shell means root, third, and seventh, right? So root, third, and seventh. Or if we were to play it in another arrangement, we'd have roots, seventh, and third. But we'll see about that later. And what we want to have always when we play shells like this is to have the root on the fifth string or on the sixth string. So this is the root on the fifth string, D. And if you look at the second voicing, the root is on the sixth string, G, fifth string. So we'll have same root notes as in our bar chords, but we'll have them while playing shells. So same as bar chords. This is a point I wanted to outline earlier. Bar chords, you can move them all around. That's why I guess you first learned like a B chord like this when you were beginning guitar, B minor, on Hotel California. Like, oh, nice. We can do it anywhere. So shell voicings are the same. You have root, third, and seventh, and you can say this is D minor 7. Oh, this is F minor 7. Oh, this is, So that's also the beauty, but it's, it's very easy to move around. And if you don't know the root notes on your fifth and sixth string so far, I highly recommend that you learn them. It's not rocket science. You take the E string, you learn all the names of the notes, and you can see the Learn the Fretboard course on the jazzguitarlessons.net website. So let's do one round of shell voicings in 4/4, same as we did earlier. So 4 beats D minor, 4 beats G7, 8 beats C major 7. You can follow along to the PDF. You ready? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. That's it. Good. So now with just this, you could, maybe it's not the best option, but you could be playing on any jazz standard, basically, and just use those 3 shapes. You won't, because you'll want to have more possibilities. So let's look at the same shells, but played at fret 10. As you can see in the PDF here, you get D minor 7. So now instead of being root, third, and seventh, it's root, 7th, third for the D minor 7. So it's played like this. Then the G7 is played like this, and the C major is played like this. Recommendation as fingerings for your D minor, and this is something I see all the time. People either go like this, or they go like this, using all 3 fingers. It's not going to work either. I have to give you a very straight suggestion. Use your second finger on the root, same as you see in the diagram. Second finger on the root, and the third finger pries, like it bends like this to play the 2 notes. Why? Once again, you will get more options with your index finger or your pinky once you play it like this. So chords like this, right? If you don't, if you use too much of your fingers when doing the D minor voicings, you will lose possibilities in the future. So thanks for people just tuning in. We're in the second page of the PDF right now. It's Chords Part 2, Shell Voicings, and I saw a few questions. Hey Larry, I see Larry is just saying hello. Thank you for being here. And Mr. Dominique, I think, asked where the PDF is. So the PDF is in the description of the YouTube video or the webinar. It's just really the first time I see this, so I cannot, I cannot really help you find it. If you can just maybe type in Jazz Guitar Webinar #1 jazzguitarlessons.net on YouTube, you'll find the video, find the description, find the PDF. I'll try to get a better handle on this and give you, a way to get the PDF easy. Maybe have a little annotation. Can I do this right now, in fact? Chat, screen share? No, I can't. Okay, so let's just continue, and I promise I'll be more organized next time and have a better idea. So let me just look at some of the questions that we got so far. What's the name of the reference material? Well, the reference material, that's Awesome Shelty, I think, yeah. The name of the material is The No Nonsense Guide to Jazz Harmony. on jazzguitarlessons.net. I think it's 3 pages on the website, and it's just what's a 2-5, what's a 2-5-1, what's C major, what's the deal with saying 2 instead of saying D minor, right? Why do we say 2, right? And there's a bunch of material that go gradually more difficult if you've never seen such things. So sorry, I digress. So exciting. And I'm so nervous too. Go figure. Let's go and comp the shell voicings. Now we comped those first 3. Now comp the second 3, the ones at the 10th fret here. And let's just try them 4 beats a piece so you can get a handle on it. And after that, you could take any lead sheet and comp behind any soloist or comp for yourself. You ready? This is 2-5-1, D minor 7th here, G7th here, C major here. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And 2 bars of C major. One more time. Yeah. C major. And we're done. So that's basically what you have to know as far as shell voicings go, because we're now having building chords 1, 3, 5, 7 usually, but now we're not having 1, 3, 5, 7. We're having 1, 3, and 7, and I won't get into too many of the technical details, but the basic idea is that those 3 notes are the most chord-defining tones. Meaning that if you were to sit here and play All the Things You Are, or Blues, or Days of Wine and Roses, or Misty, then you could be playing just 3rd and 7ths all of the time, and we would still hear that you're playing on that tune. That's what I mean by chord-defining notes, right? Good. So I see more questions from Lawrence. Thanks so much for doing this. Thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure. So as I was saying, this is a very beginner-oriented type of webinar. I want to see, what's the response like. If I get, really good questions, and maybe next webinar we'll kind of expand upon it, or maybe we'll take a tune or 2 tunes and spend half an hour and just jam together. That'd be awesome. So let's move on, because time flies. We're having fun, right? Materials, chords, part 3. So this is going to be the 3rd page on the PDF. Shell with extensions. And now we're really starting to go, going to town with that type of stuff. I like this expression. Okay, here's the heads up for any jazz guitarist. 7th chords are just in name, okay? So if you see a chart, I don't know, I got this here, okay? You know this guy? Is the image reversed? Is it? Or is it just me? Deal with it later, I don't know. So let's look at this, any page. And all we see here is just 7. C7, F7. More questions? No? Thanks, Scott. Everything's sounding great. Glad to see you here. Scott, a student prodigy of the jazzguitarlessons.net website. Amazing guy, too. So here we see only 7 chords, and in fact you hear Charlie Parker playing, and he plays 13s and 11s and 9s and stuff, and you hear the piano player, and seldom will you hear the piano player play a basic B-flat 7 chord, right? You don't hear that type of stuff. You hear 9s and stuff. So let's talk in financial terms for those of you who are attuned to that sort of vibration. It's akin to nominal interest rates, right? So when you have a nominal rate, it's only used in names and not for actual computations. So if a musician sees B-flat 7, he will play B-flat 9, B-flat 13, 11, whatever works in that context. So what we want to do now is to take the basic shells and build them up to 9s and 13s. For starters, you'll see the fingerings are fairly straightforward. You don't have to put too much effort in it. And it's very rewarding because you're now starting to sound like you know what you're doing. You are starting to play like jazz, even though it's very simple, starting from a shell, adding one note. Good. So where are we? Let's look at the 3rd page, top 3rd page, D minor 9, and G13, and C major 9. Now, a lot of people will cringe at C major 9 because it's you're not used to moving to such a shape. And I'm thinking of some of the lessons I get on the website, or when I give lessons on Skype and stuff. It's hard. If you want to substitute it, I will give you permission to do either or. And this you might want to take note of. Start here and change this for this. So C6-9. It's a 3-2-2-3 if you want to do this. Or if you want to do the lazy option, you just keep to your C major 7 that's on the first bar chord, but don't like bar it necessarily, just use. Okay, most people will cringe at the C major 9, don't worry, it's fine. Okay, so let's just play them twice in a row once again. A bit slower because it takes more effort to change from this. Oh, I have a question here from Geert. In the PDF, we have 2 alternatives of chords. When do you pick? Okay, nice question. Let's select this question and talk about it later. Okay, I will favorite the question, and I'll come back to this because it's a good. Why would we play the chords here and play it here? What's the difference? And let me go back to this question. Okay, so let's play it together. D minor 9, G13, C major 13. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, page 3. Another bar of this guy. Once more. And we're done. Good job. You probably cringe at the C major 9 if you're not used to this type of stuff. We will be, you should be working on it quite a lot. Fortunately, the other part of adding 9s and 13s to voicings to sound more jazzy, which is at the highest octave on page 3, which is here, D minor 7, G9, to C major 13. See, the C major is not so bad. It's not like, oh, it's what we had earlier, plus adding your pinky. So let's do the same thing. Let's go slowly and play it together so you can kind of get a handle on it. Ready? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. A 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're done. Great. Oh, I see. Oh, thanks, Gert, for posting the PDF here. Thank you very much for the link. This type of stuff I could have done myself. Okay, so thanks for this webinar. Larry Baker. Hey, Larry. I saw you last week, I think, right? Taking a standard and going through it next time would be great. I will talk about this. And yeah, man, we may take a standard like, I don't know, Night and Day or Blue Boss and just take the voicings and run through them. It'd be an amazing idea. Maybe next month or whenever. Yeah, I was saying once a month. That'd be a good thing. So wrapping up on the chords part. We'll stop here for the voicings, okay? Because for a lot of people, that might be stuff they've never seen, and for a lot of people, it might be stuff they use every day. I don't know. I'm not face-to-face with you. There might be people watching this in the future on YouTube. I have no idea. But let's keep it at that. And keep in mind, all of this stuff is movable. So now we're just in the key of C major. But if you translated this to 12 different frets, you could play any of the 12 major keys in 12 locations because you would move it up and down on your fingerboard, right? So all of this is movable, so you can play on standards now, anytime. Just pick a chord chart and look at it and try to comp and see what works. Perhaps if you're new to this, you can sing the melody or have someone play the melody for you, or use, I don't know, recording, say a Miles Davis recording of My Funny Valentine, and just try to comp on the voicing, see if you can follow. An issue that might arise, and I wonder if it's a question here, maybe it's not a question. What do we do when we get D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 9 to C minor? And the answer is, well, you do nothing, basically. I know this sounds cheap and like cheating, but the beauty of it is For shells, okay. I'm not talking about the extensions, but for shells, the shells are the same whether you play D minor 7 or D minor 7 flat 5, because the shell does not contain the 5, the fifth. So when you fall upon a tune that has this type of chord change, D minor 7 flat 5, 7 flat 5, just withdraw and go back to playing the shells, and it will still sound good. When you have a major 2-5, major 2-5 in the sense of D minor 7, G7, C major, when you got this, then you can play with the extensions that we just saw. Otherwise, revert back to shells. And now let's just wrap up. Oh yeah, I put the link in the PDF file. There's 2 online courses offered on the Udemy platform that are amazing, which will basically cover what we saw today, but in more details. There's one called Jazz Guitar Chords Introduction. There's a link in the PDF. And the other one is Jazz Guitar Chords Lesson 2, which is just a follow-up to the previous course, adding extensions, playing on blues. It's a really fun course. We play together and get the PDF with assignments and all the instructions, so check them out. So far, so good. We made it almost halfway. Thanks for tuning in. I see some people just walked in. Thanks for watching. This is the JazzGuitarLessons.net webinar number 1 for July 19, 2014. Very first one. It's an honor, and I'm very nervous to be doing this stuff in public. But anyways, let's just talk quickly about scales. Because, oh, and I have a question here. I want to look, Jerry. Oh yeah, we'll talk about this later. And in fact, let's take a few questions. Let's talk about this one first. Jerry says, I will click select, selecting the question. Okay. Just a caution, make sure you don't hit the dead strings if you want to move these chords up and down the fretboard. Jerry's absolutely right. Especially on the D minor one. You know, the 5th string should be muted. If you got it ringing, it's okay for this chord. Let's say, imagine you're playing here. It's not going to work, so you really have to mute it. So thanks, Jerry, for this question. Okay, let's select another question. Taking a standard. Okay, I already discussed this. Larry you're in, oh, I don't want to say the wrong state. You're in Ohio, right? Anyways, Larry Baker, super nice guy. He said that next time maybe we will take a standard and run through it. So amazing suggestion. In fact, you can write me an email, admin@jazzguitarlessons.net for, I don't know, your favorite tunes. I know there's only like 500 tunes that people know, but we may take anything that you like. Give me your suggestions. Perhaps if you started studying this material yourself, say I found the shells and everything, and I have questions. Send me what you worked on. Send me a video, and we can talk about it next time. Good. Thanks, Larry. Here we have Gert said the PDF is here. So if people just walked in, you can see the question I'm answering right now. You can download the PDF at this address. It's jazzguitarlessons.net/support-file/jazzguitarwebinar001 PDF. And you can see all the info, all the stuff we've been covering. Thanks. And now let's answer a very crucial question. Question is, in the PDF, we have 2 alternatives of chords, I guess in a different octave. Yes, absolutely. They're just the same thing transposed up, kind of. For the shells, they're exactly transposed. For the extensions, they're kind of almost the same. When you pick the first and when you pick the second. Well, it depends what came after or before. If I'm playing on a tune and say I will play the first few bars of All the Things You Are, you can get this tune on the website, or you're probably already familiar with it. No, this guy. I will be playing the first few chords. F minor 7, F minor 9. B minor 7, I'm here, E flat 7 something, altered or whatever, A flat major, D major 7, D flat major 7. Okay. Now, the next chords are exactly D minor 7, G7, C major. We're going to C major. So I'm here now. So there's no way I'm going to go, right? I'm here. So I'm going to go, right? I'm going to stick to around the 3rd fret. So to answer your question, which one you pick depends on what comes after or what comes before. And you want to in most cases anyways, you want to minimize your jumping. So when you have two options like this, you can always stay kind of close to where you're at currently. Well, it depends on the tune. It's not set in stone, but that's the basic answer. And it's always best to have two options in any case. You will notice that the bass movement, the root movement, for this guy is fifth string, sixth string, fifth, 5, 6, 5 in terms of strings. And here's the opposite, 6, 5, 6. So you want this type of option when you're playing and you have to cover territory. Like you're playing with a singer, you want to have as much stuff filled in as possible. So that's it for this question. Thank you. Okay. I want to take a sip of water first. And I want to look at other questions, perhaps. Okay. Let's go for talking about the scales, because I said 3 chords and 3 scales. I'm not going to lie to you. We're not going to spend like half an hour working on scales today, because 1, it would be super counterintuitive. 2, it would be super boring for you and for me. And 3, you gotta work on your stuff and you gotta learn scales. So it's just a quick, gentle introduction to what you can expect to learn, even as a beginner, what you should be working on. So page 5 of the PDF, scales, part 1, the major scale. Basically, what is recommended is that you understand the structure of how the major scale is built. Okay, so the major scale, if you look at a keyboard, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, you look at the white keys, and what we need to know, what we really need to grasp as guitarists, is really that there's a half step in between the notes E and F. You see the little E and F, and between B and C also there's a half step. Why? Because half steps on the guitar are just 1 fret. So if you have, let's pick the note C here on the fingerboard, 2nd string, 1st fret. C, D, D is 2 frets up. Let's go and keep going up. C, D, E, 5th fret, E, F. You see that the F note is a half step up only, so it's only 1 fret. If you can grasp this in terms of learning the theory of the major scale, you're like not even halfway, you're further than that, because that's all there is to it. You have a half step here and another one here. B, B, C, or B, C, open B, C. Okay, so grasp this little bit of theory, then all the modes and all the shebang, these arpeggios and blah, blah, blah. It will all fall into place because you get, it all stems from the same type of information, right? So what I recommend, there are links at the bottom of page 4 on the PDF. The major scale is an introductory lesson on the jazzguitarlessons.net website. There's a lesson on scale positions. I think there's 6 of them, like how to place your fingers and play in different positions. Learn the fretboard, an online course. And for advanced players who are bored about what I say right now, diagonal fingerings are really a big deal. So what did I put on the PDF? My God. C major scale, open string. Oh, yeah, right. You can learn to play. Let me see what I want. Okay, so the goal for today is not to overwhelm you. So thank you for people just walked in. We're at the page 4 of the PDF right now. I don't want to get you overwhelmed with a bunch of scales, so we'll just look at what it is that you can learn at the beginning that would be very foundational for your playing. We do a broad harmonic generalization, so just learn the major scale at first and look at where the half step. And this can and should keep you going for a long enough time if you dissect and get all the information within. For example, I was playing All the Things You Are earlier, right? If you learn just a major scale and you become a master Jedi Kung Fu master at the major scale, you learn it in the keys of A flat, C, E, G, E major. So that's 5 keys only. And you can play on All the Things You Are forever. There's more to it than that, of course, but if you can play in major scales, you got a lot of territory covered, right? So let me do a quick interlude here on generalization versus specialization. So when we generalize, it's the type of stuff that we do as beginners. You take a rock solo, there's one scale, it's like you just blow on one scale forever, right? So if you play all the things you are and you learn only the major scales, you're kind of generalizing. You're just seeing the forest and not the trees. When you get further down, you will specialize and you'll be trying to, nail every chord. F minor 7, blah, 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 arpeggio mode, and all this stuff. And B flat minor 7, mode, outline all the chords, flat nines, just get that stuff down. You need this in your life. You need to kind of push it to a point where you get very specialized in terms of targeting the notes. And then eventually you will go back and generalize and look at the tune, all the things you are, and say, oh, it's an A flat, right? That's what's so surprising with, say, players like Gary Peacock, the key jar trio. This guy just plays Stella by Starlight in B flat, and it is in B flat when you take enough of a step back, right? The melody is super diatonic. There's no issue, no problem whatsoever. But yeah. And anyways, that's I'm just saying to give you a heads up. You learn the theory very well with the whole steps and the half steps. Then you can work on the modes and other scales, but you don't have to worry too much. Say, if you take D minor 7 like this, and you say we're in C major, if you started on D, you get a mode, right? This is D Dorian, but don't worry too much at first. You will get teachers online, and I'm sorry, there's a lot of BS going on. They will give you Phrygian mode and 7 positions. But don't learn that stuff. You won't get any better, and you won't be able to improvise any better. So my philosophy is learn the theory. There's 3 ways in which you can learn the major scale. In a position, which is sticking your hand here and just playing C major here, and that's the link in the 4th page of the PDF. Lessons on position. Then you say, oh, I'm still in C major, but I'm going to be here, but still the same note. This is probably what you've heard the most about, like the cage system and stuff like that. And then you move another position, so you're still playing on the C major. So you can learn it in positions at first, usually. Then you learn it string by string, as in the link, learn the fretboard, check it out. Or you can learn it in diagonal fingerings, which is more involved and a lot more fun, but you need to pay your dues with positions first, I think. So let me wrap this up. Sorry. Here, check out the Learn the Fretboard course to understand the half steps completely and get exercises in these area and learn the lessons from the 6 positions lessons. And that's all I want to tell you. I don't want to get into concepts and ideas how to have your 11th note on the B flat minor. Like, it's too much for today, right? So last page of the PDF finally, scales part 2, pentatonics. And now you might think, yeah, been playing rock and roll forever, like playing a blues, playing B.B. King blues, it's like, it's no big deal, right? But it is a big deal, because you can still sound very good and use pentatonics in jazz. It's a matter of placing them in good timing and good rhythms and improvising nice ideas, right? So my recommendation, as I put in the PDF, learn A minor pentatonic, which is the one at the 5th fret that everybody worked on, right? And the blues counterpart of this, right? And then the blue note that you add is a D sharp or E flat, right? And then you learn the counterpart, which is C major scale, but C major pentatonic scale, right? Which stems from A minor, same thing. But you start with your pinky on the C note. But now you hear it like a C chord and not an A minor chord. So in the context of a blues, you can always use either or. In fact, there's a video that I have published recently, as in yesterday, I think, where we take only the major and the minor pentatonic on the B flat blues and we jam together. I don't have time to do it here, but the basic idea is you can get a lot of mileage And you don't have to, well, don't do like me. If I were to be a player that would use only the pentatonic and, BB King and, Stairway to Heaven and all these things, I would go like, oh, now I'm playing jazz. Put all of this to the trash. But don't. Keep all this material because it is good stuff. It is good stuff, like really good stuff. And as I posted here, the only theory you have to learn in terms of 251, not 251, sorry, mixing my thoughts. The theory of the major pentatonic is to take the major scale and remove 2 notes. So you have 7 notes of the major scale, and now you have 5 notes of the pentatonic, so you took 2 away, which are, well, I'll let you read the articles. I said in the PDF, see also 6 articles with videos on the blog, and they're very involved. You start from nothing and you build up to playing all crazy pentatonic ideas. So check them out. You will go as far as you can, basically, is what I'm saying with the pentatonics. And what else? In brief, yes, we can kind of make a link to the beginning of the lesson, as in you can improvise on C major / A minor blues pentatonic, which is the same scale, same notes, right? When we're improvising on a 2-5-1 in C major. So let us just look at something here. I will improvise a little bit. You might want to, you can play along with me, solo or comp. I will play a few rounds of D minor 7, D minor 9, G13, C major, but I will improvise after on my own with just the A minor pentatonic, or mostly the pentatonic. And then all hell will break loose as usual. Ready? A 1, the 2, Latin feel now. Improv. I can resist. See? This is almost exclusively pentatonic material, so you can get a lot of mileage out of your pentatonic while mixing other arpeggios and modes and stuff like that. Plus, it's very close to this, right? It's very soulful. So to wrap up for this, because I want to keep time for questions, it's a very broad generalization to improvise on just that one pentatonic scale for the 2-5-1, but it works, and you might want to use it sometimes, as I was just saying. Yeah, trying to make a point here. What I took down in note is there's much more to a good jazz solo than learning just the pentatonics, or then saying, I know my major scale, I know my pentatonics, and Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net said that's all I need to know. Well, no, there's more to it. Improvised melodies have to be inspired, they have to reflect the chord changes, they have to be swinging, which is a #1 culprit. If you think your soloing is not good enough, you're probably not swinging enough, or it's not placed in rhythms and good rhythms, right? And your solo should be related to other melodic ideas. You should follow yourself, and kind of your ideas should make sense together, like a speech. And it might be inspired from the tune's melody. You're playing All the Things You Are, you use the theme, right? It can be inspired by what the bassist had played, or the drummers played, or other musicians, or if somebody in the crowd sneezed or something, you get energy going on. So if you become just a mad scientist and learn all your modes and all your flat nines, your sharp nines, it is not guaranteed that you will sound like a good jazz solo. And I'm not pretending. I mean good as in Miles Davis good, John Coltrane good. This is good stuff, right? So jazz soloing and learning on scales has a lot to do with personal experiments. Take the time to learn the scales, the chords, the groove, listen to good albums, go out at jam sessions, see what gets you going. All right, people, thanks for watching. So now I'll take the remaining 15 minutes or so, and I will be answering your questions. So knock yourself out, please. We'll look at a question by Zoli, who said, okay, let's answer this question right here. Question is, maybe it's a bit off topic, it's not, by the way, but is the minor 251 completely analog to the major 251? I wonder what you mean exactly, but let's look at the related major and minor scales. C major is the relative to A minor, right? So if we take the key of C major and we have D minor, to G13 to C, this is the major 251. The minor 251 to go to A minor would be B minor 7 flat 5. And the B minor 7 flat 5 is a chord in the C major scale. And then to E7, which is almost according to the C major scale, we get E minor in C major scale. You need a G sharp, which stems from a harmonic minor, and then to A minor of some sort, right? So how analog is it? The analogy is, I wonder, let's see. The analogy is, no, you cannot play exactly the same ideas on the major 2-5 to C major and the minor 2-5 to A minor. Not the exact same ideas, but you get a lot of common notes. The difference is you have to be at least on A harmonic minor to get that G sharp note on the E7. But otherwise, it's pretty similar. So it's not completely analog, but it's not too distant. I mean, it's very easy to get two of them together. Let's look at one of my favorite tunes, Autumn Leaves, right? Autumn Leaves has a 251 to the major key, and then 251 to the related minor key right away. It's like this for the whole tune, right? And then let's look at I Fall in Love Too Easily, same process. It's 251 4, then going to the related minor key. Let's look at There Will Be Many Other Nights Like This. There Will Never Be Another You. It's in the major key, then it goes to the 2-5 to the related minor. So they're kind of related closely harmonically in their use in a lot of tunes. So anyway, Zoli, I hope it answers your question. If not, just post another one. And well, I think you did. Zoli said, I find it pretty easy to find tons of free stuff about 251, less about minor. So, oh, okay, let's talk about this right now. Zoli, we're on a roll here. The minor 251 is a tricky beast because if you generalize it too much, or you generalize it like we just did, you're like in C major or you're A harmonic minor, you're done, right? But I thought about this, and I wrote a thing it's called the minor 2-5 mini guide. So it's a complete guide to not all the options, but some of the options that you might use in soloing. It's available on jazzguitarlessons.net. So the minor 251 mini guide, I think it's a PDF. You can use harmonic minor modes, melodic minor modes, and you can really pinpoint and nail all the chords. As I was saying earlier, now you're in specialization mode. Although you might want to start with the generalization mode, where you play harmonic minor over all of it. And you're asking, why is that we always talk about the major 2-5 and not about the minor 2-5? Well, the answer is simple. The answer is super simple. Look at tunes, and you get 80% of the time you get major 2-5s. So obviously we'd practice 80% of the time on major 2-5s, and that's it, right? Okay, thanks, Oli, for the question. Now let's go do some more. There's Larry Baker here that said about the chords that we practiced. That's a really good question, in fact, Larry. How would you suggest to practice the chords on the PDF? Well, as we did in time, the main thing for a lot of people, including me, is you should be playing it so you have to force yourself to switch in time, like this. Or else what you'll wind up doing, like me, it's cheating. You go like, oh, wait, change, wait, oh, Okay, now I'm ready. No, and you'd want to avoid this at all costs. So you either take your metronome friend or your teacher friend, that's me, and you you try to force yourself to change. If you can't change in time, go slower. If you can't change in time, go slower again, until the point where the pulse is steady and you can change from one chord to another effortlessly. That's basically how you would do it. 4 beats a piece, Larry. D minor 7, 4 beats, G7, 4 beats, C major, 8 beats, right? So you want a square form. 4, 4, 4, and another 4 of the same C major. Thanks for the question, Larry. Something else has a question either about scales. Someone else has a question either about the scales we looked at, major scale or pentatonics, or applications of the chords. Please let me know. And we'll start to wrap up this little thing here. Here's a question about the metronome, just a quick one. What metronome are you using? The sound is beeping is better. This is a matrix metronome, if you can believe it. It's Chords, and what's fun is, I think once the battery is starting to run down, the sound gets softer a little bit. So instead of being like, ta, it gives you a nice type of click. I'm sure you can find metronomes online that use this type of sound to a quartz, and instead of being like a beep or digital click that's like in your face, this is much smoother. So I hope it answers your question. So thank you, everybody. I mean, I know there's people starting to walk out now because that's pretty much the end of the material I wanted to cover. But thanks so much for doing this. I get Lawrence here saying thank you. It's not a question, but thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for being here and listening to this. Thank you for visiting the jazzguitarlessons.net website. The website is all about you, because if you want to learn something, that's where it can all come to life, and I can write articles and do videos. If nobody wants to learn the stuff, then I'm stuck here on my desert island on my own. So thanks for being here, people. More questions, please. C major pentatonic on My Girl. Yeah, that's a good one. That's always the thing I hear, Jerry, and we talked about this in a Skype lesson recently. If you learn a major scale like this, then you remove the notes B and F and wind up with the C major pentatonic. You play it like this, and it's the bass riff to My Girl. Well, that's it. Thanks, Jerry. It's a good one. Next question. Link to the minor mini guide. Oh, Scott, thank you. Thank you so much. So I should be more organized next time and open my browser and go fetch the links for you guys. But here's the question. It's not a question, it's an answer, in fact, from Scott Miller in Pennsylvania, and said, here's the link to the minor 2/5 mini guide that Zoli asked a question earlier. It's a big, I mean, you'll have a lot on your plate if you read the PDF now, because it's kind of very involved in terms of melodic minor modes and stuff. But still, I tried to do my best to give you the solution. So you can find a link here, minor 2/5 mini guide. Thanks, Scott. Thanks a lot. More questions? Thank you. Thanks for everybody. I see a lot of thank you for the webinars. Thank you for being here. It's really, really fun to have a crowd. And I can't believe we're doing this, right? I think about 20 years ago or 15 years ago. So, Awesome Shelty. What's the name of? Oh yeah, I answered this quickly earlier, but I kind of forgot. Awesome Shelty, I believe. Yes, the reference material for and now there's going to be someone online, I'm sure, that's going to go on the website and post the link here. It's called the No Nonsense Guide to Jazz Harmony. Basically, it's the reference so you can learn about 2/5s, minor 2/5s, what's a 2/5-1 versus just a 2/5. What do we mean when we don't resolve 2/5s? What do we mean by the term secondary dominant, etc.? So you can find this, the No Nonsense Guide to Jazz Harmony. Right? Thank you for the question. More questions. Could you apply shells as you began to do the first bar of all the... Oh, Nicholas, thank you. Great question. So let's do this right now. I won't do it piece by piece because we'll still be sitting here in, in an hour or two. But let me apply the shells that we learned on page 2 of the PDF. With just those shells, I will play the first 8 bars of All the Things You Are, which is a web page that you can find on the website. Do it a bit slower. And I will just sustain the shells so you can really hear them, like this. So, you ready? A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, D flat major 7. 2, 1, 2, 3. Right? That was the first 8 bars. And for you, Nicolas Rubel, right? I think you're Francophone. I think. Are you? Anyways. If you're not, I didn't mean to. No offense. And then let me do the next 8 bars of All the Things You Are, starting from bar 9. So the first chord is C minor 7. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. C minor 7, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat major 7, A flat major 7. A minor 7, D 7, G major 7, that's it. And let's go to the bridge right away. 3, 4, bridge, A minor 7, D 7, 2, 3, 4, G major 7. Now let's jump up just for kicks. F sharp minor 7, D 7, 2, 3, 4, E flat, E major 7, C 7. Now back with the F minor 7, 2, 3, 4, E flat 7, 2, 2. Then I want to jump just for fun. D flat major 7, D flat minor 7, C minor 7. Oh, diminish. This guy we didn't address. So diminish, you can just take a stock voicing. 3, 4. So now, if you can do it in shell, Nicolas, that you can do it in shell within 1 or 2 practice sessions. Maybe tonight or tomorrow, you're like, oh, yeah, I got this. Now you can start to add your nines or other voicings that you already have, right? So it's just good to kind of start with the foundation and see where the 3rd and 7ths are at, and then add them. So, so to answer your question, could you apply the shells? Yes, you can, and we just did. I hope it helped you. Thank you for the question. And Zoli, thanks for the webinar. Thanks for everything. Well, thanks to Scott also for the link. Here's the question. This is great. I mean, this is a lot of fun for me. I like having an audience, right? When there's no audience and I do this alone in my living room, it just doesn't feel the same way. I don't know. So thank you for the link, Scott, and thanks for everything. And thanks, Zoli, for your good questions about the minor 2/5. And what amp are we? Okay, so let's go. We didn't talk about gear. So there's Awesome Shelty again, who's asking. Thanks for doing this. So always a pleasure. What's the amp? And that's always like, what string gauge are you using? What's your pick like? So I'm only using a Roland cube, which is the cubes that were before the Cube X and the Cube XL and the Cube, whatever. They're just Cube. It's Cube 60, and there's a bunch of effects and stuff. I don't use them, of course, but it's a Cube 60, and it sounds pretty decent. I mean, sometimes I go to gigs and I feel like I don't want to bring my tube amp. I don't want to break the tubes or have vibrations in the car, or there's rain, and so you just bring this. You crank it up to like 3. And you're totally fine. I think now they do Cube 80 and 40, and it sounds very decent. My trick, if you want the trick, Awesome Shelty, is that it? Don't use the clean channel. I always use either Brit Combo or Tweed or Classic Stack, and what you do, you put the gain very, very low, and you control the volume. And in this way, it gives you some leeway as to if you want more gain or less gain, right? And the other thing is, this is not a Tele. Can you believe it? It's not a Fender. It's a GNL. So there's somebody else. There's Scott from Pennsylvania who just got this guy. It's a GNL Blues Boy, and it has nothing to do with the color, by the way, the Blues Boy name. It's just the way you get a humbucker here and a single coil here. It sounds amazing. And to me, I've tried several Fenders. It's more real than an actual Tele. I've tried several Teles. There's a friend of mine who got a real Tele, and then he got you know, a humbucker here and stuff, and it doesn't sound, when I picked this up, immediately it clicked. So GNL Blues Boy, made in the US, of course, and Roland Cube, or else it will be Fender Blues Junior, my tube amp, with Holy Grail reverb. Thanks for this question. And now let's answer some more technical questions and then wrap this up. Unless there's other questions, let me take a moment here. Thank you for being here. So this is the jazzguitarlessons.net webinar number 1. We're almost done. Let me ask question. No, you ask questions, I answer. What's the technique? Okay, Anthony here asking the question. What is the technique called when players use, for example, C major pentatonic over many different chords? How does a beginner learn to deal with these complex concepts, or is it something an early learner should be thinking about? Absolutely, you should be thinking about using C major pentatonic, which is the same as A minor pentatonic, as you can see in the PDF, Anthony. It's called generalization, meaning that you get a bunch of chords and you go, hey, you know what? Let's just play on one scale. This is generalization, same as you pick up a blues and your guitar teacher says, here's the pentatonic, you improvise on this, and I don't want to hear anything else, right? You don't think of chords or arpeggio, you think of one scale. So this is something called harmonic generalization. You think of the forest before the trees. And there's no name for this kind of technique, but Anthony, I would direct you to page, let's look at the PDF here again. I think it's the last page. Is it? Yes, page 5. Pentatonics on the jazzguitarlessons.net blog. It's a link, and in this link you will find 6 blog posts and videos to start you from nothing, as in you don't even know what a pentatonic is. You start there, you learn it on your fretboard, you learn it in 5 positions, then you learn some patterns, type of patterns, like this type of thing. Part 4, you take chords that are parts 4 and 5, in fact, take chords that are static. This is a C7 vamp, the chord is playing, and you apply a pentatonic on it. Oh, here's how to apply a certain sound. It sounds like you outline extensions, then you go further, you play on altered chords, minor 7, flat 5 chords. So you can get a lot of mileage out of this little series of lessons. It's all free, it's all on the blog, of course. And part 6, you learn exactly what you're asking. Over C major 251, you learn 3 different solutions that work well with the 251 and just pentatonics. So Anthony, to answer your question, I think you should think of pentatonics as soon as you start, because it's a great way to keep simple stuff with you while learning improvisation, and to keep close to the blues and the nature of what jazz really is, I think, personal perspective. And it doesn't mean that you have to play exclusively pentatonics. When you learn arpeggios and scales and modes and stuff, you can still blend it in. So thanks for this question. And here's Scott I was mentioning earlier, who said, based on my recommendation, got a Blues Boy. So a black one, yeah, I saw the pictures, and I can't wait to see it live. So Scott, I hope you're having a nice time with the Blues Boy. It's kind of yeah. I wish I didn't influence my people on the website so much, because hey, you buy whatever gear you need, right? But in another way, this is such a fantastic axe, and if you're a fan of Ed Bickert or Ted Green or the likes, or Mike Stern even, you get Telecasters players that are really good and make it sound, and you don't need like a 335 and stuff like that. So thanks, Scott. And one more question. Are the chords by Roger? Hey, Roger. I talked to you recently, I think, by email, right? Are the chords you play when doing the walking bass shell chords? Yes, they are. They are, in fact. And you get shell chords. Well, let's do first few bars of all the things you are then. I will just play the bass, strike the shell, and then organize myself to walk to the next chord. This is a great way to start in the walking bass. In fact, I would direct you to a video on the website YouTube channel, which is walking bass with chords, or jazz guitar walking bass. And we start from nothing and we build a walking bass. So as your own study, you can take just the shells and do the same process as in the video if you want. The other part of the answer is there's also a tune on the website, which you probably know. It's called Blue Monk. And Blue Monk is fantastic because the melody goes like this. All chromatic, right? But you can harmonize it with walking bass that is just shells, but like passing diminished shells. It sounds like this. Sorry. Right. So there are shells, but there are shells for passing diminished and inversions and stuff like that. So check it out. jazzguitarlessons.net/blue-monk.html. There's the PDF, there's an audio file, and you can, in this way, you can learn to walk full chords and not just, have your shell and then walk. It's like you walk. So you can play blues in B flat and kind of keep walking crazy chords like this. Or there's also a Randy Vincent book called 3-Note Voicings. Randy Vincent, 3-Note Voicings, a red cover. And he teaches you this type of stuff, amongst other things, of course, but this is it's really, really happening. So I hope it answers your question, Roger. And that's it. Let's wrap this up. Thank you, people. It's been an amazing ride. Not too many technical difficulties for the first time, I think. So once again, my name is Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with the real teacher. This webinar will be rerun once it's edited. Got some work to do. It will be on the YouTube channel. Of course, if you missed anything, you can always write me an email, admin@jazzguitarlessons.net, and keep in touch. Subscribe to the newsletter, and I do my best to keep the energy flowing and get new lessons to you and talk to people and see publish new videos and stuff. So I'll let you go. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon in the next webinar. Take care.